Welcome to the deep dive. Today, we're diving into Spirit Island,
Oh, cool.
a board game that's
Oh.
it's been making waves in the gaming community.
I've heard good things.
Yeah, and I'm really excited to break this one down because instead of the usual,
Conquer and control.
yeah, conquer and control kind of thing,
Right.
you actually get to embody the spirits of nature, defending their island home from...
From us, the colonists.
Exactly.
It's a pretty fascinating twist on the classic strategy game.
Yeah.
You're not building empires or anything.
Oh,
You're
yeah.
wielding the forces of nature,
I like it.
working together to protect the island and,
The Dahan people, the indigenous people.
Yes, the Tan people.
Okay, so this is a cooperative game then.
It is.
I've heard that term before,
Yeah.
but to be honest, I never really understood, what made it different
Sure, that's a good question.
than other games.
Yeah, so in a cooperative game, you and the other players, you're all on the same team, right?
Yeah.
So you win or lose together, which means communication and strategy. I mean,
That's key.
those are absolutely key.
So instead of trying to outsmart each other at the table,
Right.
we're kind of combining our powers against this common enemy.
Yeah,
Sounds
exactly.
like that requires a whole different way of thinking.
It does. Yeah, and Spirit Island really leans into that whole
Collaborative.
that collaborative spirit. You're
Huh.
constantly discussing tactics,
Right.
coordinating your actions,
Yeah.
and making decisions as a team.
That's cool. I'm already intrigued.
Awesome.
So how do we actually win this fight against, against the invaders?
Well, there are two main paths to victory.
Okay.
Either you destroy all the colonists,
Okay.
or you scare them away completely.
Ooh. So it's not just about brute force then.
No.
We could use fear as a weapon.
Oh, yeah, absolutely.
I like that.
Fear is a powerful tool.
But what happens if we fail?
Oh, yeah.
How do we lose the game?
Yeah, there are a few ways things can go wrong. If the island becomes overwhelmed with blight,
Blight.
yeah, which represents corruption and destruction.
Oh, okay.
Basically, the spirits lose their connection to the land and it's game over.
Blight. It makes me think of a creeping disease
Yeah.
slowly poisoning the island.
That's a great way to visualize it.
Yeah.
And just like a disease, it spreads and intensifies, making it harder for the spirits to fight back.
Yeah, scary.
You also lose if the colonists become too entrenched.
Okay.
Essentially, they just dig in their heels
All right.
and establish a foothold that's impossible to dislodge.
Okay, so we need to act quickly and decisively then,
Yeah.
both to protect the land
Yeah.
and push back against the invaders.
Absolutely.
Got it.
Yeah.
Now, tell me about this awesome-looking board I see.
Oh, yeah.
It's not just a square grid, is it?
No.
A lot of these...
An island board, that's a key part of what makes Spirit Island so visually unique, right?
Yeah.
It's literally shaped like an island. With all these different regions that have their own strategic significance,
I see.
there's even a pretty side of the board with more intricate region shapes.
Oh.
Adds an extra layer of complexity, for the experienced players.
Wow, so there's
Options.
yeah, there's options for the difficulty level maybe?
Totally, yeah.
I see the island is divided into separate segments.
Yeah.
What's the purpose of that?
That's how the game scales to the number of players.
Okay.
So you only use one segment for a solo game,
Right.
two segments for a two-player game, and so on.
Gotcha. So
Just balance.
yeah, it keeps it challenging no matter
Exactly.
how many spirits are defending the island.
Precisely.
All right, now I'm dying to hear about these spirits. I've seen pictures of the game, and they all look so different
They are, yeah.
and so powerful.
Yeah.
Yeah, the spirits were really where Spirit Island shines.
Okay.
Each player gets a unique spirit panel.
Spirit panel. Yeah, it's like their own personal board with all their powers and abilities.
So it's not just about choosing a cool-looking character.
No.
Each spirit has its own, unique way of playing.
Absolutely.
Okay.
Like you might be a powerful ocean spirit,
Right.
or a cunning trickster of the forest,
Wow.
or even a
Volcano.
yeah, a fiery volcano. Each spirit has its own strengths, weaknesses, and even little tips on the panel to help you play them effectively.
This is where I get overwhelmed with board games.
Sure.
So many choices.
Yeah.
But it sounds like this adds a ton of replayability.
Oh, tons.
We could play multiple times and have completely different experiences depending on
totally.
which spirits we choose.
And that's just the spirit panels. We haven't even gotten to the power cards yet.
Ooh, power cards. Tell me more.
Yeah.
Are they Are they like spells or special abilities?
That's a good way to think about them, yeah.
Okay.
You have a variety of power cards at your disposal, ranging from minor actions to major game changers.
No.
And strategically choosing which ones to play each turn, I mean, that's crucial for success.
Okay, so it's not just about playing the biggest, baddest card you can.
Right?
You need to think strategically about which powers will be most effective at
Yes.
each moment.
And there's even more to it than that. Like, each card is packed with information
Really?
about its cost, speed, range, target land, and special ability.
Wow. That sounds like a lot to process.
It can be a little overwhelming at first.
I guess that's why there's an expert here to guide me.
Happy to help.
Can we break down some of those details?
Of course.
Like, I'm really curious about all this.
Let's do it.
Okay.
So first you have the power cost, right?
Okay.
You need energy to activate these abilities.
Right.
And each spirit generates energy based on their presence on the island.
Okay.
So the more influence you have,
Yeah.
the more power you can wield.
So we need to, like,
Expand, but carefully.
strategically expand our presence
Yes.
across the island.
But I'm guessing we also need to be careful not to spread ourselves too thin and leave ourselves vulnerable.
Exactly.
It's a constant balancing act.
Yeah.
You also need to consider the speed of a power card.
Speed.
Yeah, whether it's fast or slow.
Oh, okay.
Fast powers are played before the invaders take their actions.
So you can kind of disrupt.
Yeah, disrupt their plans, move them into unfavorable positions, or even bolster the Dahan defenses.
Ooh. I can already see the strategic possibilities there.
Right.
Feels like we're playing a game of chess with the invaders.
That's a great analogy.
Trying to outmaneuver them at every turn.
Yeah.
And then you have slow powers.
Right. Those are played after the invaders have had their turn.
Okay.
These are more about reacting to the damage they've inflicted.
So like regrouping.
Yeah, regrouping your forces,
Right.
setting yourself up for the next round.
Yeah.
You might use slow powers to heal the land,
Right.
or gather the Dahan for a counterattack, or even manipulate the invaders' positions to your advantage.
So it's a constant push and pull.
It is.
This back and forth struggle for control of the island.
Yeah, exactly.
We strike with our fast powers, they retaliate with their
Aye.
invasion, and then we respond
Right.
with our slow powers.
Exactly.
Preparing for the next wave.
Precisely.
It's a thrilling dance of like
Oh.
strategy and adaptation.
It really is.
I love it. And what about those symbols I see on the cards?
Oh, yeah, God.
Are those the element tokens you mentioned earlier?
Yeah, got it, yeah.
Okay.
Those symbols represent the forces of nature your spirit can harness,
Okay.
like fire, water, air, earth, and moon.
Wow.
They each have their own unique properties.
Okay.
They can be used to trigger special effects on your power cards.
So we're not just playing cards, we're also managing these elements.
got it.
Trying to collect the right ones to unleash these devastating combos.
It's all about the combos.
This game just keeps getting deeper.
Oh, we're just scratching the surface.
Okay, well, my head is spinning a little bit
Understand.
with all these mechanics.
It's a lot to take in.
But in a good way.
Good, good.
I'm ready to learn more.
All right.
Let's dive into those phases and see how this epic battle for the island unfolds.
Let's do it. All right, so each round of Spirit Island starts with the Spirit phase.
Okay.
This is where you get to prepare for the incoming wave of colonists.
So, like a deep breath before we plunge into battle.
Yeah, exactly.
What happens during this preparation phase?
Well, this is where you focus on growing your spirit's power,
Okay.
gathering energy to fuel your actions,
Right.
and carefully selecting the power cards you'll use to defend the island.
It sounds like we have some crucial choices to make right from the start.
You do.
What options do we have for growing our spirits?
Well, each spirit has its own unique growth options outlined on their spirit panel.
Okay.
You might choose to reclaim your discarded power cards.
So we can get those back.
You can, giving you access to, familiar strategies.
Right.
Or you could draw new power cards, adding fresh options and surprises to your hand.
Oh, okay.
Some spirits even have the ability to unlock new innate powers.
So our spirits aren't static.
No.
They're constantly evolving,
That's right.
becoming more powerful.
That's the beauty of Spirit Island.
I love that sense of progression.
Yeah.
It makes me feel like I'm truly embodying a force of nature,
Uh-huh.
adapting to these ever-changing threats.
Your spirit grows alongside the challenges you face.
What happens after we've chosen our growth options? How do we gather energy to fuel those awesome powers?
Yeah. So that's where your spirit's presence on the island comes into play.
Okay.
The more presence you have, the more energy you gain each turn.
Makes sense.
Think of it as drawing power from the land itself.
Right.
Harnessing the natural energies of the island to fuel your defense.
So we need to strike a balance then.
Yes.
Between expanding our influence and protecting the land from blight.
That's right.
Because if the land becomes too corrupted, we lose our connection to it, and we weaken our powers.
It's a delicate dance
Yeah.
between offense and defense, expansion and preservation.
And once we've gathered our energy, it's time to choose.
Yeah. Which power cards you'll unleash on the invaders.
But remember, you can only play a limited number of cards each turn.
Right. As indicated on your spirit panel.
So choose wisely.
Choose wisely.
Okay, so this is where the strategic planning really kicks in.
Big time.
We need to think carefully about which powers will be most effective, considering their cost, speed, range, all that stuff.
Yeah.
And I remember you mentioned the difference between fast and slow powers.
Yes.
Can you remind me how that works?
Sure. So fast powers are played before the invaders take their turn.
Right.
This is your chance to disrupt their plans.
Yeah, like we were talking about.
You can move them into unfavorable positions or even, bolster the Dahan defenses. Right.
To minimize the damage they'll inflict.
So we can, set traps.
Yeah, you could set traps.
Divert their forces, or even empower the Dahan to fight back.
All of that.
More effectively.
It's really
good. It feels like that chess game trying to outmaneuver them at every turn.
Yeah.
And then you have slow powers.
Right, which are played after the invaders have had their turn.
Okay, so these are more about, reacting to the damage.
Yeah, reacting to the damage, regrouping your forces, and setting yourself up for the next round.
Right.
You might use slow powers to heal the land.
Okay.
Gather the Dahan for a counterattack.
Yeah.
Or even manipulate the invaders' positions to your advantage.
So it's a constant
push and pull.
Yeah, back and forth. Struggle for control of the island. We strike with our fast powers. They retaliate with their invasion.
Right.
And then we respond with our slow powers, preparing for the next wave.
It's very dynamic.
It is.
It's a thrilling dance of strategy and adaptation.
That's a great way to put it.
And speaking of the invader's turn.
Oh, yeah.
Once we've played our fast powers, it's time to face the invader phase.
Yeah.
Where the colonists make their move.
Dun, dun, dun.
Okay, I'm ready. What can we expect during this invader phase?
Well, this is where the tension really ramps up.
Okay.
The invaders have 3 main actions: ravage, build, and explore.
Let's break those down, starting with ravage.
Okay.
What exactly happens when the invaders ravage the land?
So ravage is where the invaders inflict damage on the island.
Okay.
Both to the land itself and to the Dahan people who call it home.
Right.
And the severity of the damage depends on the type of invader present.
Oh, okay. So there's different types of invaders.
Yeah. So you've got explorers, which represent that initial wave of colonists.
Okay.
Relatively weak.
Yeah.
But they pave the way for more formidable forces.
And this is where the Dahan come into play, right?
Yes, absolutely.
They fight back
They do.
against the invaders, even though they're outmatched.
They're fierce.
Yeah.
So for every 2 damage a land takes during ravage, 1 Dahan is destroyed.
Okay.
But for every surviving Dahan, they deal 2 damage back.
Oh, wow. Okay.
To any explorers, towns, or cities in that region.
So the Dahan are more than just helpless victims.
No, they're not.
They're valuable allies in this fight.
That's right.
We need to think carefully about where we position them.
Yes, absolutely.
This is where the game's tension really starts to build.
Yeah.
We have to disrupt their plans and prevent them from gaining a permanent foothold.
Exactly.
What happens during the explore action?
So explore is how the invaders spread to new areas of the island.
Okay.
They'll send out their explorers, venturing into territories based on the current invader card.
Right.
They'll prioritize lands that already contain towns or cities, as well as those adjacent to established settlements or the ocean.
So they're like a creeping tide.
That's a good way to put it.
Slowly but surely engulfing the island. It's up to us, the spirits, to hold back that tide and protect the remaining...
pristine lands.
Pristine lands, yeah. Okay, so we've survived the ravage, build, and explore actions. What happens next during the invader phase?
Okay, so the final step of the invader phase is the advance phase.
Advance.
Yeah, this is where each invader card on the invader board is moved 1 slot to the left.
Okay.
Representing, the inexorable march of time, the ever-increasing threat of the invaders.
Like a countdown timer.
Yeah.
Ticking down to the next wave of invasion. So after the invaders have had their turn to ravage, build, explore, and advance...
That's a lot.
It is a lot.
Yeah.
What happens next?
Okay.
Do we get a chance to catch our breath?
You do.
Regroup.
That's where the slow power phase comes in.
Okay.
It's your opportunity to react to the invader's actions,
Right.
heal the land, and prepare for the next round.
Just like with the fast power phase.
Yeah, similar.
We can play slow powers, which are indicated on our cards.
Exactly.
So this is our chance to assess the damage, regroup our forces, and come up with a new plan.
You've got it.
Attack.
Precisely.
It's like we're playing a game of, like, strategic cleanup.
Yeah.
Trying to undo the damage the invaders have inflicted while also setting ourselves up for success
Exactly.
in the next round.
And don't forget about your spirit's innate abilities.
Oh, right.
Yeah.
You might have special powers that recharge over time.
Or abilities that trigger under certain conditions.
This game is a constant juggling act.
It is.
Managing our resources, choosing the right powers, constantly adapting
Very dynamic.
to the changing situation.
Yeah.
Sounds exhausting,
Yeah.
but also incredibly rewarding.
It's both of those things.
Okay, so we've played our fast powers,
Uh-huh.
endured the invader phase, and responded with our slow powers.
You're getting it.
What happens next?
So the final phase of the turn is called time passes.
Time passes.
Yeah, this is where you reset for the next round. All power cards are discarded, unless you have a specific ability that allows you to keep them.
I got
All
you.
temporary effects from powers or elements expire,
Right.
and any damage to invaders and Dahan is healed.
So even though we get a moment to catch our breath, the pressure never really lets up.
It doesn't.
It's like a roller coaster ride.
Yeah.
That never stops climbing.
As the game progresses,
Yeah.
the invaders become more aggressive, the
With-
blight spreads further,
Right,
and
right.
the tension mounts.
With each passing round,
Yeah, exactly.
now that I have a better understanding of how the game unfolds, I'm curious to hear more about those win and lose conditions.
Okay, yeah,
We touched on them earlier,
we did.
but can we dive a little deeper now?
Yeah, let's do it.
That we know the mechanics.
Of course. Let's start with the ways you can lose.
All right.
Remember, if you run out of blight tokens
Rep.
representing that irreversible damage to the island,
Yeah.
it's game over. The spirits lose their connection to the land,
Right.
and their powers fade.
So protecting the land isn't just a side objective.
Yo, it's not.
It's essential for our survival.
Absolutely.
What else can lead to defeat?
If any spirit loses all of its presence markers, it's essentially destroyed.
Okay.
And that also results in a loss.
So we need to be careful not to spread ourselves
Too thin.
too thin. Yeah. What's the final way to lose?
If the invader deck runs out before you achieve victory,
Oh.
it signifies the invaders successfully establishing themselves on the island.
Okay.
They've essentially colonized the island,
Right.
and the spirits have failed to protect their home.
It's a race against time.
It is?
What about achieving victory?
Oh, yeah.
How do we win the game?
So victory is tied to escalating terror levels.
Terror levels.
Yeah, each with a specific objective you need to accomplish.
Okay.
Remember those fear cards we discussed earlier?
Yes.
As you generate fear by destroying invaders and playing fear cards, you push the terror level higher,
Okay.
representing the growing panic and desperation of the colonists.
Okay, so the more fear we generate, the closer we get to victory.
That's right.
What do we need to accomplish at each terror level?
All right, so at terror level 1,
Okay.
the victory condition is pretty straightforward.
Okay.
There can be no invaders remaining on the island.
All right, get them all off the island.
You got it.
Push them back into the sea.
Exactly.
What about terror level 2?
Okay, at terror level 2, the objective becomes more demanding.
Okay.
You need to eliminate all towns and cities from the island.
Wow, that's a significant step up.
It is.
What about terror level 3?
Okay, so at terror level 3, the focus narrows even further.
Okay.
You need to eliminate all cities.
So as the terror level rises,
Yeah.
the victory conditions become more challenging.
They do.
What happens at the highest terror level?
At terror level 4,
Okay.
you achieve automatic victory.
Automatic victory.
The colonists are so terrified and demoralized
Wow.
that they just abandon the island entirely.
So it's not always about brute force.
No.
Sometimes strategic fear and disruption.
Psychological warfare.
Yeah.
Yeah, exactly.
Breaking their spirit as well as their bodies.
It's a multifaceted battle, requiring both physical and psychological strength.
My mind is buzzing with all the possibilities.
I bet.
I'm starting to see why this game has such a devoted following.
Yeah, it's really special.
But I have to ask, with so many different spirits,
Yeah.
adversary levels, scenarios to explore, where do we even begin?
That's a great question, and one that every new player grapples with.
Yeah.
But that's also part of the beauty of Spirit Island.
Okay.
It's a game that invites exploration and discovery.
So with all these options and complexities,
Yeah.
where do you recommend new players start with Spirit Island?
Okay. Yeah.
Is there a good entry point, that won't overwhelm us
Right.
right out of the gate?
Yeah, that's a great question. And luckily, Spirit Island is designed with that in mind.
Look at it.
Yeah, the game comes with a handy difficulty guide
Okay.
that helps you tailor the experience to your skill level.
That's reassuring.
Yeah.
I was a little worried about, getting crushed by the invaders in our first game.
Yeah. No, you can adjust the difficulty.
Right.
And within the spirits themselves, there are some that are considered more beginner-friendly.
Okay, so, if someone's new to the whole spirit world,
Oh,
with
yeah.
all these intricate mechanics,
Yeah.
are there any other spirits that you recommend for beginners?
Yeah, another good option is Vital Strength of the Earth.
Okay.
This spirit focuses on growth and defense,
Okay.
allowing you to steadily build up your presence on the island.
Those sound like great starting points.
Yeah.
And as we get more comfortable, with
Yeah.
the game.
And don't be afraid to try different combinations of spirits.
Okay.
Each spirit has its own unique strengths and weaknesses.
Right.
And the way they interact with each other, it can create some truly amazing synergies.
So it's not just about mastering individual spirits.
No.
It's also about learning how to combine their powers.
That's a great insight. And that's one of the things that makes Spirit Island so replayable.
You mentioned earlier that there are different adversary levels and scenarios.
Yes.
Can you tell me more about those?
Yeah, so the base game comes with several different adversaries,
Okay.
each representing a unique faction of invaders
Right.
with their own strengths and weaknesses.
So we're not just facing the same generic invaders every time.
No.
That adds a whole new layer of challenge and variability
It really does, yeah.
to the game.
And on top of that, you have different scenarios,
Oh, wow.
which are like mini campaigns
Okay.
that introduce unique rules and challenges to the game.
It sounds like Spirit Island is a game that just keeps on giving.
It does.
There's always something new to discover.
Yeah.
A new challenge to overcome, a new strategic puzzle.
Yeah, that's one of the reasons why it's become so popular.
This has been an incredible journey into the heart of Spirit Island.
It's a great game.
We've explored its mechanics, its strategies, its challenges, and its rewards.
Lots to explore.
I'm starting to see why this game has captured the imaginations of so many players.
Yeah, me too.
It's not just a game, it's
The
a...
world.
Yeah, it's a world, it's a rich tapestry of strategic depth, thematic resonance, collaborative gameplay.
All of that.
And as we wrap up this deep dive, I want to leave you as a final, thought-provoking question.
Oh, I like it. Okay.
If you were a spirit of nature,
Okay.
what unique powers would you wield to defend your island home?
That's a great question.
What forces of nature would you command? What strategies would you employ to protect the land?
It really gets you thinking.
So, whether you're a seasoned board game veteran
Uh,
or a curious newcomer, I encourage you to explore the world of Spirit Island.
it's a good one.
It's a game that will challenge you, inspire you, and leave you with a renewed appreciation for the beauty and resilience of nature.
I totally agree.
Thanks for joining us on this deep dive into Spirit Island.
Of course, it was my pleasure.
Until next time, keep exploring, keep playing, and keep diving deep into the worlds that games like Spirit Island have to offer.
Awesome. Sounds good.